Hey friends! Before I share today's video, I need to share an important life update with you all. So if you don't already know, my family and I made a major move. We moved from Northern California to Northern Wisconsin, and we are starting a homestead. So in this video I'm about to share, you're going to hear from Derek. He is my friend, my co-parent, and Nayland's father. And he's going to be talking about the garden that we're starting. We're not on our homesteading land just yet. We're staying with my dad, but we're getting a garden started, and so he's going to talk about how we are starting our garden. Enjoy.
So here we are in the lovely northern climate of Wisconsin, near Lake Superior, and we are very, very eager to start a garden. And we located a fairly sunny location. It gets most of the day it gets full sun, enough for a vegetable garden. And what we first did was we decided we wanted to set up the layout of the garden beds. So here we have 6 beds that are each 4 feet by 16 feet. And the reason why they're 16 feet long is because I just got my son a tape measure, and he got to use the full max dimension of that tape measure. So 16 feet. And the reason why it's 4 feet wide is because you'll be able to reach everything. The average adult will be able to reach into the middle and harvest stuff without stepping into the soft, fertile soil. We also allowed ourselves about 1.5 foot wide access path in between the beds. And that was kind of like a compromise between having too much path space and too little. It was just right to fit your feet and walk through here. So what we used, and you don't have to use flags, but we used flags as we had them. You could use rocks or wood or stakes, anything you have to mark out the layout using a tape measure. And from there, you have to figure out how you're going to go from the grass to your vegetable garden. And there's many different ways to do that. One way is to sheet mulch the area in which you get layers of cardboard, compost, and wood chips or straw, and you layer the materials right on top of the grass. And in doing that, you're not only killing the grass, but you're also recycling the nutrients that's in the roots and the stems of the grass plants. In this case, we didn't have too much time to wait because we have a short growing period, and we want to get started very quickly. So we ended up deciding to sod cut the grass, and we will use the sod that we cut and removed as a material in a hugelkultur bed. While we were doing this, if you have a little one, kids would love to build a little bench or something with the sod. It's a fun building material. But eventually we're going to actually put this in a hugelkultur bed, which we'll tell you more about another time. So in order to sod cut the grass and make it look like this, you need a flat a spade shovel with a flat edge. And you first have to identify the edge of the bed between the flags, and you make a score line by slicing the grass. And that way, when you're cutting the grass out, it has a nice clean edge. And then you go through with the spade shovel and you kind of slice the grass right under. Now, if you don't feel like getting a workout in and you have a lot of sod to remove, what you want to get is a sod cutter, which you can rent at a lot of equipment rental stores. And basically a sod cutter is a machine that mechanically slices the grass, and then you can roll it, and you can do probably 1,000 square feet in a couple hours if you know how to use it correctly. But if you don't, you have a flat spade shovel and you got a sunny afternoon with your son, you can cut your own sod with a shovel. The next step to forming these garden beds after the sod is removed is to get your hands on some really high quality compost if you can. We found a local supplier that was able to tell us the source of this material. It's actually from cow manure that went through a digester composting stage and then through an aerobic composting stage, and resulted in compost with a really nice texture, compost that has humus in it that binds it together. That's actually a really good indication that your compost is high quality. It has clumps like this that will break apart, as opposed to just having this dust, ashy texture. Another good indication is if the compost has worms in it. That's a really good sign that there's a really good microbial life in the compost, and that's what we want in our soil. We want to feed the soil with microbial a microbial ecosystem, so that the plants that you put in the ground have a healthy soil to grow in. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to spread a 2-inch layer of compost, and I'll just show one little portion of it right here. You just spread it out 2 inches. You spread it out. And just for purposes of this video, we're not going to do the entire bed all at once. I want to show you the next step after you spread the compost. You're going to broad fork it in, and a broad fork is a really cool tool. It's like a giant fork with a sharp edges on the bottom. And what this does is it allows you to aerate the soil without turning it. If you turn the soil, you're actually taking soil life that's on the upper surface and you're putting it all the way down into the soil where it won't survive. We want the soil life to survive as much as possible. So what we want is to get this broad fork in the soil and then loosely pull it up. So I just started the edge. So when you're going to go through the whole bed, you'll turn around and you'll move it a foot in. And you're just letting that compost kind of fall into the cracks. We're not actually turning the soil. Broad fork's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. You're just using your body weight. You're not really using muscle. You just fall back, use gravity, and then use gravity to pull it back like that, and then step on it, wiggle it, and then lean back. And you know, the first time you do this, the soil might be a little bit hard, not exactly what you want it to be. But after a few garden seasons of doing this to the soil, adding compost, deep tilling without turning, the soil will get looser and looser and full of life. And the worms are going to do the work after that. So I hope you enjoyed this short video on turning a grassy patch into a future vegetable garden full of soil life and health.
Worms like the compost.